In this video, I'm going to be unboxing and assembling this Cityscape 2.0 e-bike from Tamobyke. A link to this bike is above and also in the description. But before we get started on the assembly, I'm going to go over some of the features of this bike. It comes equipped with a 48 volt 15 amp hour battery that's mated to a 750 watt hub motor that peaks at 1,000 watts. They are 20-inch diameter tires that are 4 inches wide. It comes with these nice Kendra tires. You can see the frame is a step-through frame. It has a deck so you can rest your feet if you don't want to pedal. It comes equipped with this cargo rack up front, which would be nice for delivery. It has a daytime running light. It also has headlight and tail light, directionals in the rear, front and rear suspension. It comes with front and rear hydraulic brakes, which is nice for this price point, front and rear fenders to keep the rain and mud down, a full color screen, a 7-speed transmission, a half twist throttle. Over here you have the headlights, the directionals, the horn. You have 5 pedal assist modes. And overall, it's a great bike for the value, especially if you're going to do some type of delivery or you want to carry some cargo. So without further ado, let's get started on that assembly. So inside this box is the tool kit, the pedals, the license plate holder. I'm assuming this is the charger and the user manual. Right here, zip tied to the frame, are the keys for the battery, and what you're going to do is cut that off. And then if you use the key, unlock the battery and slide it out of the frame so that you can get this charging. In this box is the charger. I'm going to go ahead and get the battery charging so that when I'm done assembling, I can get riding. Now, one great thing about this bike, when you assemble it, it comes with everything you need. It comes with a tire pump and a full tool kit to assemble everything on this bike. I'm going to start here with the stem. I'm going to rotate that around and attach the handlebars, then put on the front wheel and the pedals. Overall, it looks like a pretty easy assembly, and this tool kit will definitely help me out. So let's get started on that. And then what I'm going to do is remove this end cap off the front of the stem. But before I bring the handlebars up, the cables are routed outside of the fork. And what I'm going to do is remove this top cap so that I can route the cables through the fork on the inside, because I really don't like the location of them running outside of the fork. It's a lot cleaner inside. Install this little rubber cap. Now I bring up the handlebars. I'm going to line up those little ridges in the center here. Put the end cap on. Install the bolts. Get that end cap put on and then tighten these bolts down. If you have a torque wrench, it says 5 Newton meters, or I would say about a 1/4 turn to a 1/2 turn after being tight. You have a little reflector here if you want to, but since this bike has a headlight, I'm going to remove that reflector. I don't need it here in the United States. To install the front wheel, you want to make sure that the brake rotor is lined up with the caliper on that side. So I'm going to turn this around, and then you're going to see here on the axle, so removing this hardware, there's the nut, there's a washer, and then there's a washer with a tab and a little flange on it, and then the spacer. So what we want to do is leave the spacers on the wheel, and then take off the other side is the same way. Make sure those spacers are all the way in, and then you can simply lift up the bike. It would help if you had a friend lift this up for you, but I think I can manage this. I'm getting the brake rotor to engage. There we go. I got the brake rotor engaged. I have it set into the dropouts on the fork. I'm going to go ahead and put the kickstand down so the bike doesn't fall over on me. In order to install the axle bolt, what you're going to do is take this tab washer, slide it on, and engage it with that little hole, then the regular washer, and then your lock nut. And then you're going to do same for the other side, but this side sticks out a little bit more. So I'm just going to push it in so it's even on both sides, maybe a little bit more, and then install the washer with the tab, then the regular washer, and the lock nut. I'm going to spin that on. Looks like it's about the same on either side. Then use my 15mm wrench to tighten that down. Tighten both sides down securely. Okay. Now you may need to adjust that brake. We'll get to that after we put the fender and whatnot on, but let's get that started. I can use the little rubber caps and cover those bolts on both sides. To install the front fender, you're just going to simply slide it up over the tire like this, and then you're going to use this screw here with the nut on it. You're going to slide the metal tab to the front of the fork, slide it through. The nut goes on the back, and you're going to use a 10mm wrench on the back. What I say is just put it on there finger tight. Then you're going to use a 4mm on the side to loosen this up for the side support, and then bring this side support up and secure it. Put that on there finger tight, and then I'm going to do the same for the other side. If you don't want to install the cargo rack on the front of this bike, you can then mount the headlight up here. It installs nice and easily, and then secure the fender as is. But I'm going to go ahead and try the cargo rack. There's this angle support, and then you're going to use this shorter bolt with the washer on it. And what I'm going to recommend is install this like finger tight so that you can move it up and down. This is the gusset bracket for the bottom of the cargo rack, so you can load it up. Now the cargo rack, you're going to use these longer bolts with the nut on the bottom, and you're going to simply put it on the top of the fork here. I'm going to slide the bolt through. I'm also going to do that with this other one. And then I'm going to put the nut on the bottom. I'm going to leave all that finger tight so that I can get this adjusted. Okay. And then this bracket here, I'm going to get this aligned. And then I'm going to use the hardware, these shorter bolts and nuts. I'm going to attach it like this. I'm going to get this all finger tight, and then I'll come back and secure everything with the 5mm hex and the 10mm nut on the back. So to install the headlight now, I'm going to use this bolt here with the nut. I'm going to slide the bolt into the bracket on the headlight, through the bracket on the fender, then through the fork, and secure the nut on the back. I'm going to come back with my 5mm and a 10mm wrench on the back, 5mm hex in the front here. Get that straightened around. Don't forget to connect your headlight with the harness as seen here. Line up the arrows. Don't forget to reach up here and connect the screen and the to the main wire harness. To install the pedals, simply use the pedal that's marked. This is the right side here. I put a little grease on here to help me install it, but you don't really need to. And then simply thread it on. This one's standard thread, the other one will be opposite. You can then use your 15mm wrench. Moving over to the other side. This one's going to be counter thread, the left side. Before installing the battery, make sure that you pump the tires up. These seem a little soft from the transport, so I'm going to put a couple pumps in here. I'm going to install the battery. It is a 48 volt, 15.6 amp hour battery. You're going to simply slide it up, get it latched in here, slide it in place, use the key to lock it in place. There we have it. Moving up here to the cockpit, I'm going to remove the plastic film on the screen. Now to turn on this bike, you're going to see there's the plus and minus button here for the pedal assist. Just below that is the power button. Simply hold that, the screen turns on. It's a nice bright screen. And I see over here there's some buttons. So if I choose the button on the side where the plus button is, you go from trip to odometer to max speed and then average speed, and then it cycles back. This button here turns the screen brightness from night to daytime, which is nice to be able to do that on the fly. Then this plus and minus is to change the pedal assist modes. This button is for the headlight. You have directionals. They're only in the rear. That's here. You have a horn. This is the 7-speed transmission, and that is the throttle. I'm in pedal assist mode 5. Let's see what the top speed is. I lift up the rear wheel. Gets to 28.5 miles per hour. That's pretty respectable, 45 kilometers. So I'm going to take this out for a ride and see how it does. I hope that you liked this video. Subscribe to my channel. If you have any questions, please leave in the comments. Thanks for watching.